Jay, Sherwood, Richard Montgomery, I've always had this strong desire to get to Northwest, so thanks to Dr. Swope, we have made that happen. But whenever I have a new relationship with another school, I put a lot of pressure on myself to really bring it, to make this kind of a high-energy discussion. In fact, when I was driving over here this morning, I made myself a promise in the car. I was like, I'm going to make this the most interesting, informative, and dare I say, entertaining class period that you have, not just all day, not just all week, all semester, but all year. And I know that's a big promise because you got a lot of great instructors, you got a lot of great guest speakers, but I feel good about making that promise because what you might be interested to know is that for the last 10 years, I've performed in the Washington, D.C. area as a stand-up comedian and stage hypnotist. Comedy, most people get right away. When you work in comedy, first thing people always say is, tell me a joke. So I've written some jokes just for you today. Hopefully some of them might actually be funny. It's the hypnosis part that gives people pause. I'll be completely honest with you. That word makes people really anxious and uncomfortable. Right? Hypnosis, hypnotist. It causes what I like to refer to as the uncomfortable silence. You know that uncomfortable silence. You walk into a room and there's a whole bunch of people talking and suddenly they stop talking because they were probably talking about you. If you want to experience the uncomfortable silence of hypnosis, do this for me. When you get home this evening, hey, how's it going? No,
Never mind. Just go. You're good. You're good. Why don't you sit over here? Yeah, there you go.
When you get home this evening and your mom or your dad or friend is like, oh, hey, how was school? What are you studying? Tell them in psychology class that you're studying hypnosis and then ask them to stare into your eyes. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. That word really freaks people out. Well, why is it? Because most people's experience with hypnosis is one of two things. Maybe they've been to a show, like a county fair, on a cruise ship, and people running around acting crazy, or it's what they see on television, or what they see in movies. And who usually has the power of hypnosis? It's always like the master criminal focused on world domination. In fact, in the 10 years that I've been performing my show, which is called the Hypnotic Experience, I have heard it all when it comes to hypnosis. I've heard that it's mind control, magic. I turn people into zombies. I did a show this summer down at Rehoboth Beach. Before I was getting ready to go up on stage, this girl, maybe she's like 12, 13 years old, grabbed me on my shirt. She's like, Mark, she's like, are you going to have little dolls in your show? And I was like, okay, I'll go with you for a second. Why would I possibly have little dolls? And she said, well, it's kind of like voodoo, right? Okay. I recently did a fundraiser for a Girl Scout troop. And like before I got started, one of the girls stood up in the back and she's like, Mark, let me ask you this. Do you think the Cullens could hypnotize people? I'm like, the Cullens? I'm like, I think it's the Cullens you're associating. She's like, no, like Twilight vampires? All right, so let's dispel some myths here. I am not undead. If you want to go outside in the sunlight, we can absolutely do this. I'm not a magician, I'm not a clown, I'm not going to get up here and juggle. When I checked in this morning at the main office, like the main receptionist was like, oh, you're the hypnotist? She's like, I thought you would be in like a costume or something. I'm like, nope, not a mine. And I'm 100% certain, I can absolutely guarantee it, I am absolutely positive that hypnosis is not mind control. Why would I be so certain? Why am I so certain that hypnosis is not mind control? If hypnosis were mind control, my experience dating when I was in high school would have been a heck of a lot different than that. Right? So only certain people get that. Usually the people are like, oh yeah, mind control, I can see that. So this then raises a really interesting question. If hypnosis is none of those things, what exactly is it? Well, if you were to do a web search, Google it, Bing it, what it would tell you is that hypnosis is a completely natural state of mind that's all about focus, creativity, concentration, and enhanced suggestibility. All right, those are all kind of words in the English language. I think I know what that means, but it doesn't really tell me what it is. So here's the one thing. If you remember anything from our talk today, here's the one thing that I want you to remember, my definition of hypnosis. Let's for a moment accept that we all have two minds. We have a conscious mind, and then we have a sub or unconscious mind. Our conscious mind is where we spend most of our time. It's our area of critical thinking. It's how we engage throughout the day. It's how we process information. It's how we make decisions. Obviously incredibly important. The challenge with our conscious mind is it soaks up a lot of energy. It's like having your phone with all the apps on running all the time. So let me ask you this. Whoever has gotten home after a really long day of school, and even though you didn't do anything physical, you feel physically exhausted, you feel like you ran a marathon. Has that ever happened to someone? Right. Happens all the time. It's because your conscious mind is churning and burning and going through all this energy. So what happens is during the day, whenever you have an opportunity to, you slip into your subconscious mind. It's where you go when you get lost in your thoughts. It's where you go when you daydream. It's where your creativity exists. And our subconscious mind, interestingly, influences us in ways that we never even realize. So let me ask this. You ever wonder why companies run the same advertisement over and over again, and usually there's a catchy jingle associated with it? What they're trying to do is stick in your subconscious mind. So when you're there at the point of purchase, you're standing in the supermarket looking at cereals, you're like, oh yeah, tricks are for kids. Maybe I'll buy that. Here's another example. Have you ever had a cookie or brownie for dessert and you really shouldn't have a second one, but you just can't seem to help yourself? That's an example of your subconscious mind. Here's the last example. There is actually a form of speech pattern, that's called Neuro-Linguistic Programming, NLP. It's using the power of the unconscious mind to affect change in an audience. Politicians are the master at this. So our current president, Barack Obama, is an exceptional speaker. But if you go back and you watch video clips of his speeches on YouTube or something like that, don't you notice things like where he says like, hey, I want you to imagine what the world would be like if it were like this. Or think about how great our society would be if it were like this. And doesn't he seem to say the same phrase over and over again? It's not mind control, it's simply influencing how an audience perceives his message. It's something that happens every day. So my job as a hypnotist is very simply to take this skill, this talent, and help people use it to affect really positive changes. Now what you're thinking, okay, really, is this relevant to me? Well, I think you might be interested to know that every single person that you've ever met, every single person that you know now, every single person in this classroom, yes, even each of you, experiences hypnosis 4 or 5 times every day, you don't even realize it. Now what you're thinking, skeptical, right? Not me. I'm aware of everything at all times. Well, are you? Let me give you a couple of examples. Have you ever been driving or riding in a car and 10 minutes goes by and you look around and you're like, whoa, how did we get here? You ever get dropped off at home at the end of the night and you have no memory of that ride whatsoever? That's actually called highway hypnosis. It's still you, you're just so comfortable with the route that you're other focused. How about this? Have you ever been to a movie and something funny or scary happens on the screen, you have a reaction to it? The entire entertainment industry, movies, television, even music, is all based on a form of hypnosis called the suspension of disbelief. Rationally, we know they're actors just acting, but sometimes you get so lost in the story, you have an emotional connection with the character, you just go with it, right? So the movie Titanic, at the end of the movie Titanic, Leonardo, everyone has seen that movie, the ship sinks at the end. I hope I'm not ruining the end for anybody. Right, okay, right. And by the way, I just want to say, there was room on that door. Whatever she was floating on, there was room for 2 people, I'm just saying, right? But at the end of the movie, when he drowns at the end of that movie, because he's such a good actor, we have that emotional reaction because we're so lost in the story. Think about what it's like going to a movie. Big comfortable chair, it's all dark, all of your attention is on the screen. It's all designed to create a hypnotic effect. Here's the last example. Have you ever heard a song or smelled something and it brought back a memory? You ever had deja vu? You ever know what's going on in your mind there? Well, what's happening is your conscious mind is experiencing something that's triggering a subconscious reaction. So consider this. What if you could actually take this skill, this talent, this thing that you do every day, and direct it towards positive outcomes? Being more successful in school, being more successful in athletic competition, feeling energetic, feeling really healthy and well. That's what hypnosis is all about. It's all about empowerment. Now, I actually tend to focus on 3 things, 3 applications of hypnosis for my practice. The first is hypnosis as a tool for stress management. Stress, as we probably all know, is negative energy. It's actually rooted in human physiology. So 10,000 years ago, if a saber-toothed tiger is chasing you, you want to be really stressed out, or you might get turned into lunch. Well, the prospect of being attacked by a big cat on your way home from school is pretty low now. So what happens is stress builds up inside of us. And if we don't have a way to get rid of that stress, our body comes up with a way whether we like it or not. So what happens here around exam time when big paper is due? Everyone gets really stressed out and sometimes people's faces break out. It's a simply hormonal reaction. It doesn't get any easier when you're an adult. When an adult gets stressed out, maybe you're not sleeping as well at night, maybe you get run down, maybe you get sick. But a lot of adults have really strange, interesting phobias. Do you know someone who picks their skin or picks their eyebrows? It's a really common one. How about someone who grinds their teeth? You know anyone who grinds their teeth when they get stressed out? I hear that all the time. It's a very common reaction to stress. In fact, I have a story to share with you. I recently met with a woman who, when she gets really stressed out, she grinds her teeth. And she's so aggressive doing this that she ground the molars down to like nubs. It was so bad that like her dental professional fitted her with a very special mask. And so what she said to me, she's like, no, Mark, I'm so frustrated. Even though I wear this mask at night, I must still be grinding my teeth because my boyfriend won't sleep over anymore. So of course she says that, I'm like, all right, well let me see what this mask looks like, right? I mean, somebody's gonna say that, I gotta ask. She goes back into her room and she comes back. Have you ever seen the movie Silence of the Lambs? She puts on this thing and I'm like, he's not sleeping over because you're grinding his teeth. He's not sleeping over because he's afraid you're gonna bite his face off in the middle of the night. But for her, that was a really interesting stress reaction. I had another show recently where this guy came up to me and he's like, you know, Mark, you're talking about stress. When I get really stressed out, I get into metal. And I'm like, all right, like, you know, like Metallica, I could even go a little Dokken, like old school 80s metal. He's like, no, I chew on metal, like nails, paper clips, that sort of thing. And I'm like, oh, really? And he's like, the problem is, like, I've accidentally ingested nails and I had to go to the emergency room to get them taken out of my stomach. However crazy that sounds, that's his reaction to stress. And so what I tell people is, hypnosis is this tool that you can use to really help your body manage and mitigate that stress. It allows your body to heal itself. Second interesting application of hypnosis. Hypnosis is a tool for self-confidence. And Dr. Swope told me earlier, he's like, Mark, wait till you get to 7th period. That is an awesome group of kids. Really smart, engaged, intelligent, athletic, all this great stuff. I was like, really? He's like, yeah. He's like, the rest of my class, ah. 7th period, wait till you meet those kids. And I can tell just looking at you guys. So this is the only negative part of the conversation. This is the only down. I just got to keep it real. This is the only bad part. Here's the reality of the situation when it comes to confidence. Each of us at some point in our lives is going to have a dysfunctional relationship with a family member, a friend, or a romantic relationship. If you haven't had one yet, set your watch, it's coming. Somebody's going to tell you you're not good enough. You don't look the way you're supposed to look. You're not going to make that team. You're not going to get into the school that you want to get into. You're not going to get the lead in the school play. You don't deserve that. And however much we know that we've got to love ourselves, that hangs there. Let me ask you this question. When you have an opportunity in life, what does that little voice inside you say? Does it say, hey, you're a really good person, you've worked hard, go for it? Or does that little voice immediately go to negative town? For a lot of people, it's okay if it's negative town, that's where most people go. Hypnosis is a tool that you can use to condition or train that voice to always expect success. In fact, I've got an interesting story for you that involves me. I've performed stand-up for 10 years. And in 10 years, you might be surprised, or maybe not surprised to hear, that I've been booed off stage 3 times. Booed off stage. I got booed off stage at a free show for homeless veterans. How about that? When I first started performing stand-up, I did a lot of open mic nights. I had this great idea. I'm like, I'm going to leave comment cards on the table. So when people come to my show, at the end of the show after they've been drinking all night, they can fill out the comment cards and tell me what they thought. So great, first night I got like 30 comment cards, I'm really excited, I get home, I'm there with my wife Hillary, start reading through the comment cards. Somebody actually took the time to write on a card, Mark, you are so unfunny, if I ever see you on the street, I'm going to punch you in your unfunny face. Wow, and I'm there with my wife, I'm looking a little bit of support on the home front, I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, Hillary, can you believe that? And she's like, man, I hope you never see that guy on the street. I'm like, I know, right? If I get punched in the face, I'll know exactly who it is. But for me, even though I've had these traumatic experiences, every time I step in front of an audience, every time I step on stage, I always think it's going to be successful. I visualize the whole show. I go into it with a positive outcome. Hypnosis is a tool that you can use to create an expectation of success. Here's the last application that I think a lot of you will be able to identify with and might find most interesting. Hypnosis is a tool for what I like to refer to as performing in the moment. So, musicians use hypnosis to inspire creativity. Students use hypnosis to improve test taking, blocking out distractions. The most popular application of hypnosis today is hypnosis as a tool to enhance athletic performance at the collegiate and professional level. The University of Maryland women's basketball team has a team hypnotist on staff. The Washington Nationals have a hypnotist who works with their pitchers. Right? USA Gymnastics, anyone watch the Olympics this past summer? You ever notice the girls when they're getting ready to go and perform a routine, it looked like they would close their eyes and saying something to themselves? That's a hypnotic technique. USA Gymnastics has a hypnotist who works with all of their athletes. Think about what it's like, 14, 15, 16-year-old girls who prepare for their whole lives for 45 seconds. And oh, by the way, it's broadcast to a global audience. Think about the pressure that it might be under. How do you block out that distraction? There's actually one NFL team that employs a team hypnotist, the Seattle Seahawks. What their coach will tell you is, once you get to the NFL, guess what? Everyone's big, fast, and athletic. What becomes the difference? How you mentally prepare yourself. For those of you who are athletes, I know we've got one, too. I got anyone else here who's athletes? Eventually, JV, varsity, maybe you play collegiately, eventually you will arrive on a field where everyone can play. What if you had a tool that you could use to enhance your ability to perform at a very high level? In fact, I've got a great story to share with you involving the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle Seahawks have an all-pro quarterback by the name of Russell Wilson. A couple years ago, the NFC Championship game against San Francisco 49ers, Russell has the worst half of football of his entire career. In the first half, he throws 3 interceptions, has the lowest QBR, quarterback rating of any quarterback in any playoff game ever. In the second half, gets a little bit better, leads the team on a drive at the end of the game, score a touchdown, send it into overtime. First possession in overtime, Seattle gets the ball. It's 3rd down, 3rd and long. Stands in the pocket, he slides to the left, he's getting rushed, a blitz. All these guys are coming at him, throws a 60-yard touchdown pass to win the game. Best pass of his entire career. After the game, he's on the sidelines, he's on the verge of tears, right? He's just sent his team into the Super Bowl. Sideline reporter rushes over and sticks a microphone in his face and says, Russell, you just had the worst half of football of your entire career. How did you make that throw? How did you do it? His answer to that question was really interesting. He said, in my mind, I've made that throw 1,000 times. Hypnosis isn't going to make you an NFL quarterback. But what it can do is create an expectation of success so that when that moment presents itself, there is no hesitation and you're ready to perform at a very high level. This is all about empowerment. So, 2 really interesting questions that I get about hypnosis all the time. You're probably thinking some of these questions right now. First question I get is, can anyone be hypnotized? The answer is yes, as long as you're open to it. All of hypnosis is self-hypnosis. Let me say that again. All of hypnosis is self-hypnosis. You actually hypnotize yourself, I just serve as the guide. Plus, under hypnosis, you would never do anything that you wouldn't normally do. You wouldn't give away your money, you wouldn't commit a crime, you're not going to tell me secrets. I want to set expectations. You're not going to wake up 30 minutes from now out on 270, stumbling around, missing an eyebrow, wondering what happened. You're in the moment, you're aware of everything at all times. In fact, I got a story to share with you. We talked about hypnosis as a tool for test taking. You probably all know someone who's really smart but just gets really anxious when it comes time to test. Well, the SAT is like that experience on steroids, right? A really important test. So I often get invited in by high schools to do kind of like an SAT prep thing. How do you use hypnosis to block out distractions and perform well on the test? And I was invited in earlier this year by another Montgomery County high school because of like confidentiality issues. It really wouldn't be appropriate for me to say who it was. But what I can tell you is its initials are BCC. But please don't ask me who it was, right? BCC is a school in downtown Bethesda. Go there. You probably played in soccer. Maybe you didn't. All right, we're going to be cutting that.
Yeah, I did.
Okay,
Yeah.
that won't be. All right, so, really, people, seriously. So I get invited in, and it's like a group of 30 people, 30 kids talking about hypnosis, right? And we get to the end, and there's always a couple kids that have like things that they want to talk about, individual things. I always enjoy those conversations. And there's one young man who wants to be the last one in the room. And I can tell he's kind of hanging around in the back, a little bit nervous, a little bit anxious. And so finally, it's just the two of us. And he comes over to me, and he's actually perspiring a little bit. And he's looking around, and he starts to whisper. And have you ever noticed that when somebody whispers, you just whisper back for some reason? He's like, Mark, let me ask you a question. And I was like, yeah, what's up? He's like, you see, there's this girl.